It is our second major news bulletin for the day. This is Flo 94.9 FM and it is Flo News at noon. My name is Michael. Only the headlines. President Buhari asks Fulani herdsmen to ignore quit order by Northern Elders Forum. Human rights activist recommends retired judges to handle election petitions. Ad hoc committee on Abia Poly vows to unravel salary challenges in the institution. And on the foreign scene, 13 dead after suspected arson attack animation studio in Japan. The details shortly. We begin this afternoon in Abuja, where President Muhammadu Buhari is enjoining all Nigerians to ignore the recent call by the Northern Elders Forum, the Fulani herders, asking them to leave the southern part of Nigeria. The president, in a statement signed by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garuba Shehu, in Abuja, said the Fulani, like other citizens of Nigeria, are free to move and live within any part of the country they please, whether or not they are originally from there. The president questioned the intentions of the forum and the other so-called leaders in delving into issues with unsolicited and ill-intentioned advice. The president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has said that the absence of ministers will not affect the 2020 budget. Lawan spoke with State House correspondents in Abuja after he held a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari together with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila.
The budget itself is normally prepared by civil servants. The permanent secretaries, superintendent, and the directors do the work most of the time. I believe that we are still on course, and I believe that both the executive and the legislature are on the same page on this. We all desire and are prepared and determined to ensure that we pass the budget by the 1st or 2nd week of December by the grace of God, provided it is presented to us in September.
Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko Mohammed, is calling for collaboration between the three tiers of government to reposition the judiciary. Justice Tanko, who spoke at the Red Chambers while addressing senators on his confirmation as the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria, said that the judiciary will not go begging the executives for anything. The acting CJN stated that a lot of amendments need to be done to many laws so that the operations of the judiciary can be instrumental, particularly a review of the criminal laws of the country to make stiffer penalties that will deter criminals.
If need be, we take a holistic look at our criminal laws. Let us amend them. Let us take care of all these kind of things. Let us provide adequately so that it will serve to inhibit the practices of this kind of thing. We know there are laws, quite all right now, but for those who are all out to see that they are saying, I'm reading from far distance, they are saying that, what is there? The law is not adequate for me.
A senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, is of the opinion that election petitions in Nigeria should be handled by retired judges. In a communique sent out today, the human rights activist argued that the judges serving in the courts have been overburdened with national assignment and have left their jurisdictions, hence leaving all matters pending in their courts. Falana further stated that a review should be carried out regarding preferences given to election petitions and appeals, adding that in certain neighboring nations, election petitions are not handled by regular courts, but by constitutional courts. Security has been beefed up in Kaduna state capital as the trial of the embattled leader of Islamic Movement of Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, resumes today. El-Zakzaky and his wife Zainat are facing an 8-count charge by the Kaduna state government over allegations of culpable homicide, unlawful assembly, and disruption of public peace, among others. The presiding judge, Justice Gideon Kurada, had during the last sitting on March 26, 2019 adjourned the case indefinitely following his appointment to serve as a member of the Elections Petitions Tribunal in Yobe State. Members of the House of Representatives have given a one-week ultimatum to Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki to issue a fresh proclamation for the inauguration of the State House of Assembly. The lawmakers arrived at this resolution while adopting the report of an ad hoc committee mandated to investigate the crisis in the state legislature.
There was this issue of proclamation. The governor of the state has the powers to issue proclamation, and he is supposed to issue immediately after he must have assumed office. The chairman, in the case of Edo State, the proclamation came 10 days after he took office.
The Senate Committee on the Crisis, led by Senator Aliyu Abdullahi, were also in Benin to meet with the warring lawmakers.
We are getting facts, and we have a duty to ensure, if you check the provision of Section 11(4) and 5, it's very clear on what we should do. And the whole idea, that section is talking about public order and public security. So we are mandated to look into anything that can lead down to breakdown of law and order.
Speaker of the Assembly, Frank Okiye, has called on the Inspector General of Police and heads of the Department of State Services, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress, and the National Assembly to respect a subsisting court order restraining them from interfering in their activities.
We too have, approved the court for an injunction, which will be granted by the Federal High Court, restraining the national leadership of the party and their agents and privils, the police and other security agencies from interfering with the peaceful conduct of the legislative business here. So I do not know where they are, basing their power on.
And back home in Abia State, the Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice in the state, Uche Ihediwa, has dispelled the alleged claims by the traditional ruler of Umobasi community, as a Professor Owala, that the proposed trailer park at Arungwa in Osisioma local government area was for Ruga settlement. The commissioner made these clarifications while addressing the press following what he described as unfounded allegations that Abia State government had given out the proposed trailer park land for Ruga settlement in the state.
Federal Ministry of Works, Transport and Housing requested for land to establish trailer parks in the course of reconstruction of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway. This request came 2014. And about that, this project was going on in all parts of the country where there are commercial activity. If you go to Lagos today, you see the menace of trailers. So that was the idea, that around any town there should be a trailer park.
He explained that Abia State government does not subscribe to the Ruga program under any guise.
I challenged him to please produce the letter of allocation issued to Federal Ministry of Transport for even the trailer park. There is none. It will be contrary to what the government of the entire Southeast stands for, to allow anything that is in the nature of Ruga, because the governor has been emphatic, and I do hope that he will apologize to Abia State government in 7 days. Otherwise, we will meet him in court.
And still in Abia State, the government is warning tricycle operators to rid their union of criminals and maintain a functional database of their members henceforth. The chief press secretary to the governor, Onyebuchi Ememanka, who gave this charge in an interview with Flo FM News, reckoned that the security agencies were duly consulted before the extension of restriction hours to 9 p.m.
They should see this action of the governor from a proper perspective. They should see it as a direct challenge to them to rid the association of criminals. If government notices a return of crimes using keke, action will be taken. We believe as a government that it's a handful of criminals that have infiltrated the keke unions. People who operate keke are decent family men, but a few criminals will enter the business and use it to rob people and give the union a bad name.
Abia State Police Public Relations Officer Geoffrey Ogbonna also confirmed that police officers have been properly communicated on the new order.
We have gotten a note of that, and I believe most of our people listen to radio. But there is also a medium of our own internal communication, which we are using to communicate to all the officers, for them to be properly notified that His Excellency has extended the Keke time operation in the state. So every police officer should heed to the order made by the executive governor of the state, which is final.
The ad hoc committee set up by the Abia State House of Assembly to investigate the financial activities of Abia State Polytechnic Aba says it will go all out to unravel the challenges the institution is facing in payment of salaries. Chairman of the committee, Jerry Uzosike, who gave this assurance while addressing newsmen in Aba, has said the committee will propose lasting solutions to numerous challenges facing the institution.
While we wait for the report to come out, we encourage the governor, who is very much interested in the success of this school, please come to the aid to to send in some subvention to support. While we now look at all the revenue issues that have come up, and then our recommendations will, through the House of Assembly, through the Speaker, go to the governor. But I'm saying that we need an immediate intervention, financial intervention in the area of salary, so that the workers will survive pending when the report comes out.
During the technical session, some of the students said the institution levied them so much, amongst other issues.
For me, as a student, I think some of the payments we are making as scaring students. And you know, in an institution, when lecturers are being pulled, there is always a way out. And that way out tells us. So I believe that alone, I'm being paid by my parents. And some of the payments, little payment that on a normal ground, the staff is being told to help their family. So this discourages the students.
Earlier, the rector of the school, Friday Ebo, said the management is striving to address some of the issues raised by the students and the staff. And still in the education sector, a professor of mathematics education, Israel Onwegbu Inekwe, is calling for regular and intensive workshops, seminars and conferences, as well as lectures organized at regular intervals to address constraints students face in the study of mathematics in schools. Professor Inekwe, who was speaking at the 43rd inaugural lecture of the Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike, noted that mathematics phobia has hindered improvements in the Nigerian educational system. He argued that the challenge has affected the future studies and career of many prospective students and urged mathematics teachers to shun the indiscriminate use of instructional materials and embrace the manipulative aids which make for faster understanding of some concepts. You're listening to Flo News at Noon on Flo 94.9 FM. The news continues shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Do stay tuned. Well, thank you very much for staying tuned. And now straight to business. National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure says its plan to begin the local manufacturing of transformers has reached advanced stages. The executive vice chairman of the agency, Professor Mohammed Haruna, stated this at an orientation program for 60 engineers and technicians that had been selected to travel to China to acquire the requisite skills for the manufacturing exercise. And outside Nigeria, on a very sad note, at least 13 people are dead and dozens injured after a suspected arson attack at an animation studio in Yokto, Japan. Local media quoted police as saying that a man broke into the Yokto animation studio this morning and sprayed an unidentified liquid around. Some 30 people still remain unaccounted for, as the suspect, an unidentified man, has been detained and taken to hospital with injuries. And in sport, Super Eagles of Nigeria have won their 8th bronze medal of the African Cup of Nations. Nigerian forward Odion Igalo handed Gernot Rohr's side victory with his second-minute goal in the third-place match against Tunisia at the El Salam Stadium in Cairo on Wednesday night. The Nigerian forward also dominates the leading goal scorers chart with a total of 5 goals in the tournament. And our sports studio wraps it this afternoon on Flo News at Noon. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember that security is everyone's business. Provide useful information to security agencies to ensure your security. Join us at 6:45 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. every weekday for additional newscast. This is Flo 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. You can visit www.flownews.com.ng for more stories. The news was edited by Oluchi Undubezu, supervising editor Samson Eze. My name is Michael Oni. Do enjoy the rest of your brunch time.